We want to extend a warm greeting to everyone who's watching this. My name is Andy Smith. I'm the pastor at the Methodist Church here in Grange, and we are just offering this as a public service to our community as we sit down and speak with our Honorable Mayor, Janet Moerbe, and with our City Manager, Shawn Raborn. And we are here to just on behalf of the community ask some questions about what's going on with the coronavirus and how this is impacting our community and what vital information might need to be shared throughout our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
us. Thank you for setting this up and showing your concern and giving a method for us to connect. Absolutely. In a time when we're being forbidden to connect socially. And I think the more opportunity that people get to see each other and hear what each entity is doing toward protecting our citizens and getting through this disaster. This is the second disaster that we've had in less than 3 years. We're an extremely resilient community. This is, as Shawn has mentioned before, is a disaster without a face. It's very, very different. You can't hold it in your hand and go out and help pick up somebody's refuge left from when their trailer was swiped away. Or this is the kind of thing now. I think that what we have been doing, county-wise and city-wise, is to prepare for the worst and do what we can to avoid the worst ever coming to our county. And because of the directives that have come down from the president and the governor and our local emergency management group, people have distanced themselves and they've been following the recommended procedures. And I believe in my heart that the reason that we have only had one case and he is self-quarantined and doing well is what we have heard. And they pinpointed where that exposure was. And so there have been no cases linked to that so far. But it's inevitable, it's all around us, that we need to be prepared. We have an emergency management team at the county level that's led by Moerbe, and he's done an excellent job of organizational chart. The city of Grange and the other cities are working underneath their direction. We have the power to make things more restricted, and at this point we're all following the lead of the county and what we're allowing and disallowing people to do as far as engagement. We at the city have been preparing for inevitably what's going to happen to us economically. We've done projections on the amount of sales tax and hotel tax that we might be losing and where we can cut expenditures. We're also, our economic development team stays in constant contact with our businesses in town, passing on information. We're so in the middle of this right now. They don't know what their ultimate needs are going to be. It's kind of a waiting game, and that's what's so frustrating about it. We are setting up new grant programs and involving the businesses in decision making, but they don't know where they're going to be, and we don't know where they're going to be. We're just going to try to be prepared for assisting them in getting back on their feet or establishing new businesses, because we depend, the whole community, on our sales tax. But because this community, faith-based and trusting of one another, we've always been able to come together, and it amazes me that I think where we're at is a good place right now for where the nation is in a whole. And those outside of Fayette County get a lot of my prayers, as well as the ones in Fayette County, because they're seeing the impact of it much worse than we are now. But our businesses have had to change how they do business. Our churches have had to change how they can reach their congregations. The city has had to change how we meet the needs of the public. We are full staffed. We're here every day, operating out of a little window and trying to get some of those services, quality of life services, back up and running, like the library, and we have checkout at the library and whatever. But if our citizens had not pulled together, and our neighbors helping neighbors, and our businesses helping each other to convert, I know I have bought a lot more takeout dinners than I ever do normally, because you see that as a way of helping those businesses, and they're going to need some other financial help, and the state and the federal government are coming down with some funds. And once we get a grasp of where we are in the financial situation to help them, then the city can step in and do additional helping. But we are also currently working on programs that will help our small businesses and those individuals who have lost income as a result of COVID-19.
When you get phone calls, and I'm sure you're getting a lot of them from the citizens, what are their concerns that they voiced with you, or have you not had a lot of those kinds of calls?
I will be honest, we haven't had a lot of those calls, because I think in some cases, as I go back to, they're still kind of in their normal routine. A lot of it focused back on related to issues at HEB, Walmart, availability of those commodities. Once that's kind of caught back up, their supply chain has caught back up, that was kind of soothing to people. I mean, that was probably initial, was an emotion when you couldn't have X. We've had a great conversations with those organizations, and kind of just letting us know that they're going to catch up, and they have caught up, and that's a real positive. The thing is, we're just trying to make as normal as it can be in a very abnormal situation, to give people some solace, to understand that we're still here. The library's doing, like I said, giving books, the rec center's doing pickup for meals after school, just things along that line, because there will be a time that we may have that abnormal where we ought to be kind of locked down, hopefully not, but doing everything we can now, and I think that's what the social distancing, if we continue to do what we're doing, the line I've heard that I keep that resonates with me is that you'll never know that you did too much, but you'll surely know you didn't do enough. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's, as the mayor indicated, we have used that, it's a disaster without a face right now. But as we see unemployment numbers go up, that will be the face. For us, it may not be a healthcare crisis, but it may be more of an economic crisis that will go on for a number of months. That's our challenge, because the city's a little different. Government doesn't move at the speed of sound sometimes. And trying to put programs in place and use those existing programs that we have, that we help small business. We've been active with other, like the Texas Restaurant Association. They came out with some funding. We have a number of I think we have 5 or 6 restaurants who were able to apply. The funding's already overprescribed now. So we're looking at different opportunities there. But we have, I guess one silver lining in this, we have a lot more direct contact on a daily basis with the business community. With that, and because when times are good, you don't need to talk to anybody. But when times of strife, that we have opened those lines. So
when you mentioned earlier that this is a faith-based community, I think that is truly one of our strengths, and we just don't want our congregation or members of the community to lose that faith because they can't go to church. I mean, that's why we want to reach out to them.
Doing this, and I go to St. Paul, and Pastor Candy is doing it online, and things along that line, and her and Caleb. on Wednesdays. And so that face is out there. It's different. I hope it doesn't, before some of us, it may become the norm. We kind of like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But as the mayor said, we have always come together. If you look at, not always go back to the flood, but that is a recent disaster we hooked to, that the work that the Ministerial Alliance came through to rebuild Second Chance, and also the food pantry. Amen. They're in the process of right now of building their new facility. So those are all things that lift us up. But I think the challenge will be is that it is different. Every disaster is different. That one was very visible. We could all own it. This one will be, I think, truly will be a little more challenging to all of us, because one day we're going to say, okay, life's back to normal. I don't know how that's the challenge going forward, is what day do you turn the switch back on and say, okay, everybody's free, go out.
Yeah.
I think we're all going to be humans and say, I'll be a little apprehensive for a little while.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet. So,
And I think when we go through that process, it won't be back to our old normal.
No.
It will be a new normal, where we may never shake hands again. We may do the elbow thing from now on. That's the challenge that we take from this, the lessons that we learn to continue to support each other emotionally and spiritually. And like Shawn said, this community's uniqueness, and when new citizens move into town, that's what they comment on, is the cooperative effort of the churches and how the people take care of each other. You checking on neighbors and supporting the businesses. A lot of the local retail businesses have online where you can order things and they'll bring them out to the curb. And the food pantry is bringing the food already prepared in bags, and they can be picked up rather than shutting down.
Thank you all a bunch for doing this.
I would like to extend a warm thank you to our Mayor, Janet Moerbe, and to our City Manager, Shawn Raborn, for giving us the time to talk about how LaGrange is dealing with the coronavirus. I hope that this video was helpful and keeps us connected as a community and informed with all that is going on during these times. And I close with a benediction and a prayer blessing over all of us. That the Lord bless you and keep you, that the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace now and forever. Amen.